Okami, IGN's 8th best game of the last decade, and I feel it's time I paid my homage to it. Now, I know a lot of my new subscribers have learned how much Josh Scorcher hates Okami, and this is one of the few times where I actually disagree with him. Okami is an amazing game with graphics based on Japanese water painting, a great soundtrack and story based on Japanese religion and folktale, and of course, the focus of this countdown, it has some great bosses. First, this will be in the style of my Metroid Prime Trilogy bosses video. Second, this will also include bosses from Okami's sequel, Okamiden on DS. Now remember, these are my opinion, from my least favorite to my favorite in Okami. So, let's just start the awesomeness. This boss has no reason to exist. Asteroid is just the illegitimate offspring of a fucking starfish and octopus. It has basically no personality or backstory, other than it was formed by the spirits of those lost at sea. Plus, it fights in an underwater stage, which are atrocious in this game. Okay, I'm fine now. I'm gonna try and be a little more constructive now. Back on topic. Asteroidian is a very annoying boss. His main attacks are to spin into you, which is very hard to avoid, and shooting bubbles at you. God, what kind of pussy is Chibi? After dealing with his tentacles, he'll become a starfish and become even more annoying. Since he's now smaller, he's harder to hit, and he gets a freaking overpowered attack where he sprays powerful jets of water. Asteroidian, you fail epically.
Failure!
Ice Dragon! But a fairly unimpressive one. Mizushi is the guardian of the mystic Amber in the Ice Cave. He was the guardian of a seaside village before he defected to a Roki once the village was destroyed, and eventually lost his faith in humanity. But other than that, he's very underdeveloped. He was very annoying when I first fought him, because there wasn't much indication of what to do. So then I went onto Okami Wiki and... okay, here's how it's done. When he's stunned, an icicle will appear over his head. Use Power Slash to knock it down, and then load your partner Manpoku into the cannon and shoot him at Mizushi. Okay, who the hell was supposed to know that was the strategy? Well, Mizushi is a step up from Asteroidian, but not by much. Why is the Witch King here? Very simple. His wife is in Okamiden. The Witch Queen is another step up from the others. While her personality is more developed, her only backstory is that she owns the demon market, which I found pretty interesting because it shows that demons are pretty alike to us, having quarrels and running businesses. Whoa. I'm getting off topic here. The Witch Queen, upon first glance, doesn't appear that interesting, just sitting there and smoking a pipe. But when your cover's blowing, she changes for the worst. Drawing two rusty blades, she sets about to strip the flesh from your bones. I think it's about time to mention the music that plays in these fights. While this song plays in all these first fights, I believe it fits the Witch Queen's personality and fighting style more than the others. But of course, in the whole Okami series, she's the only boss that, after defeat, is still alive. I know these first few bosses have all been from Okami-den, so now let's get to one from Okami. Surely one from Okami has got to be better. Oh god. True Roki is this low for one reason and one reason alone. This fight is the exact same as the first one. Absolutely nothing in this fight has changed. It's the exact same Roki with the same attacks, same style, same backstory, same finish, same everything! Now, before going on a psychopathic rampage, let's switch to something more uplifting. Ah, frogs. They're so colorful and funky. Oh, toads, they're just as cool. Well, toads are so— Holy shit! That's f***ing hideous! Master Onura is a giant evil toad, which has the ability to talk. He's an up-himself toad who states that only a blood heir of Nagi can fight him. Well, it's just lucky you have Kuni, the son of Susano, on your team. Wait, what? He's not Susano's son? Then whose is he? Forget that for now. Master Onura doesn't have much in the way of attacking you other than headbutting you and using his tongue, and doesn't have much that can defend against you. After taking enough damage, he'll leap out of the water, exposing his weak point. Hit this, and he will spit out a seed from the guardian sapling. After this, Kuni will return on the other side of the arena. This is another reason why I like this fight. Kuni at this point goes through some serious character development, realizing that it doesn't matter if he isn't Susano's son. He's going to fight bravely by your side because you're his friend. With Kuni's help, you guide him to the seed and get him to insert the seed into the roots of the sapling, draining Onura of some of his power. Upon performing this strategy a few times, Onura will fall and you'll retrieve the stolen mirror back. One thing I really like about Okami Bosses is the atmosphere and cinematic elements that go into these fights. Which brings us to our next boss, Crimson Helm. His appearance is pretty damn impressive, but while he majorly lacks in the personality department, he shines in his backstory. Upon the defeat of Roki, Crimson Helm rose out of a pool of his blood, kind of a stereotype of classic horror movies. He then waged war on the residents of Taka Pass for 100 years, commanding an army of monsters. He then took up residence in the Gale Shrine after slaying the head sage when he became ill. This is fairly clear in his appearance. When the fight begins, the Satomi power orbs will aid you and act as a shield to Crimson Helm's attacks. After enough abuse, his armor will drop and reveal a cattle skeleton. Okay, a fucking cattle skeleton? Anyway, on defeat, Crimson Helm is still kicking, and summons spirit versions of Roki's heads. Then Susano jumps into the scene to combat these heads. With a bit of CQC with power slashes, Amaterasu and Susano put the stop to Crimson Helm. The Spider Queen is a very cinematic boss. The atmosphere in the corridor to the Queen is very effective. As you run through, the candles on the sides slowly die out. The music that plays fits this mood perfectly. The scraping of the strings always makes my skin crawl. Upon entering the room, everything is dark, and you hear and see something moving. Isun approaches the center of the room to see a flower, which has eyeballs in its bud. Upon seeing a limb reaching for Isun, Ami does this. Upon unveiling her true form, the Spider Queen has a heated discussion with Ami and Isun. Then the fight begins. The fight is very unimpressive. It's just about using Vine to snag the hooks on the queen's back to rip open the bud and attack her eyes. After the fight is done, the queen blooms and turns into a beautiful flower. Now, in the original Japanese version, the Spider Queen is known as the Geisha Spider. What the hell is a geisha?
Those ladies aren't just skank hookers, they're high-class hookers. Alright, so does that mean they spit or swallow?
Whoa. Clover Studios have a sick sense of humor. While most games nowadays are solely defined by guys wielding guns, I still prefer a good classic sword, which is why I like this boss, Blight. Blight is actually the sword he wields, Goldnail, who became sentient and evil after being bathed in the blood of 1,000 battles. His body is entirely composed of both evil and disease, filled with dark mist and swords. Think about this. He is a demon who is a sword, made entirely out of swords, wielding a sword. That's a lot of swords. I can see where Blade Man from Megaman 10 got his inspiration. Blight's immediate backstory is that with the help of the Demon Lord, they formulated a plan of taking over Ryoshima Coast, with Blight's role being shrunk down and infecting the Emperor with a disease, spraying toxic mist over the city, and making the citizens unable to fight back. Oh, and now the fight. Blight's moves are very fast, forcing you to use your Veil of Mist technique to get behind him and stun him. With that, you can attack Goldnail, which does the actual damage. Upon taking enough damage, Blight shall succumb to his wounds and will explode, freeing the city of the grasp of fog. Bullhead is a selfish prick, a catfish who very much believes he's a carp, believes in the ancient legend if a carp swims up a waterfall, it will become a dragon. To make his wish come true, he steals the wet and dry jewels from Otohime's servant Nanami and uses them to flood Agata Forest. He then decides to kidnap Kuni to eat. Chibi, who teams up with Nanami, sets out to track him down and save Kuni. When they finally catch up with him, they have a heated discussion. Then the battle begins. The battle is secluded on small islands to fight. Bullhead will circle around and eventually charge. When his mouth is open, use Vine to connect his tongue to the Konohana Blossom. With this, he will be vulnerable to your attacks. After he has taken enough damage, he will swim to another island. Use Nanami to get to the other side and continue fighting. When Bullhead succumbs to his wounds, Kuni manages to climb out of his stomach and return Nanami's wet jewel and dry jewel. But unfortunately, Bullhead is still kicking. Nanami then uses the jewels to dry up the water, making him a real fish out of water. With Kuni's help, you perform some skilled power slashes and lay the smackdown on Bullhead. But not before he hits a switch which releases all the water trapped in Agata Forest and separating Chibi and Kuni. Now, the reason I'm putting up a flame shield is for two reasons. First, some people might not agree he's a boss. And secondly, those that think he is a boss would think he should be higher up. But nonetheless, here he is. The Prophet Wacha. Oh yeah, I can feel you fanboys steaming with rage right now. The reason he's low is that his battle is fairly unimpressive. But he's higher up than the rest because of his style, personality, and backstory. Let's start off with style. Wacha is a man with flowing golden hair who plays a flute. But his flute has a second purpose. It doubles as his signature weapon, a lightsaber, which he names Pillow Talk. And he is a pro swordmaster. Just watch this.
Holy sh**.
Now, backstory. As I previously mentioned, Wacha is a prophet. He's the guardian of the moon cave, which was broken into while he was away for business. He also fought alongside Shiranui when they engaged Roki in the celestial plane. He was the one who told Shiranui to drag Roki down to the human world and await the birth of the hero Nagi. While he is a good character, he counts himself among the ranks of the accursed moon tribe, an ancient race who built the Ark of Yamato and brought evil to the land of mortals. In this game's amazing conclusion, Wacha and Amaterasu enter the Ark of Yamato to confront the darkness within. When Amaterasu is heavily weakened, Wacha steps in to protect her. As Wacha is left defenseless, he gives a very heartfelt speech to Amaterasu about how much he admires her and how his faith in her has not waned since Amaterasu put her faith in him. In his final moment, Wacha gives his final words of guidance to Amaterasu before he is hit by a blast of energy and sending him plummeting down a shaft to his death. Until it's revealed he survived the fall and landed on a platform. Same things applies in Wacha, blah blah blah. Now this is a character I found quite a bit better than Wacha. I present Oki. Oki is an Oina warrior, a race with the power to switch forms from man to beast. When the land of Kamui came under danger of the twin demons, Oki took it upon himself to fight the demons, giving the chieftain and the elder a chance to escape. However, Oki was no match for them and lost. In anger and shame, Oki steals the sacred sword Khotun and flees into the wild. He believes the ancient legend, the wall of ice shall shatter and open the way to the heavens when Khotun, the guardian sword, glows silver. He interprets this as a sign for him to slay monsters until his sword glows silver. Same as Wacha, his fight isn't impressive, but I love the cutscene before the fight. It's just so atmospheric and builds up a lot of tension. But the thing I love the most is his epiphany. When you take on the Silver Demon alongside your past self, Oki breaks through to finish them off. As he leaps to finish them, they use their magic to freeze him and attempt to kill him. Shiranui then leaps in to take the blow for him, and as he is about to fall off the mountain, Amaterasu leaps in and tries to save him. Oki, seeing the demons are weak, prepares to perform the final blow. He sees Amaterasu struggling with Shiranui. As the tree begins to fall on the wolves, Oki forgets about the demons and saves them. Upon completing the selfless act, Khotun starts to glow. Oki realizes that he had been blind to the truth. Khotun could not awaken while its wielder's heart was filled with selfish desire. By putting selfish desires aside and putting others before himself, Khotun accepted him and gave him the power of the hero. And with this, he teams up with Amaterasu to take on the twin demons. One of my favorite video game characters ever. On the lines of You know what? I've always been a fan of the theater, which is why I enjoyed the fight with Sen and Ryo. They are a crane and turtle team of demon performers attempting to steal the souls of their audiences until you start meddling with their affairs. The fight starts with you engaging Sen in her humongous mechanized puppet. This puppet is pretty cool with its ability to throw giant gears and tornadoes at you. Upon it being stunned, its weak points are exposed. Combining Kagu's Miko powers and your celestial brush, you can exploit these weak points and put a stop on Sen. But you're far from over. Ryo makes his appearance and summons his puppet to combat you. Once he's at half health, Ryo gets wise to your tricks and takes Kagu onto his back. As long as Kagu is there, you can't exploit his weak points. Unfortunately, Ryo has left another weak point fairly obvious. His hands can be heavily damaged by cherry bombs. Once he's hit, you can climb up his arms and rescue Kagu. After he's taken enough damage, he'll fade away. Nope, the fight ain't over yet. Sen and Ryo reveal their master puppet and both fuse with it. Let's take a little break from the fight to discuss your partner Kagu. She is the most famous child actor in Nippon and has a very short temper. She seems troubled by hearing people say she's not normal, because, well, she isn't normal. She's determined to save her family when the playhouse is taken over by demons and inadvertently uses her Miko powers. She refuses to accept them and demands anyone who knows about them to keep their mouths shut. Now here comes another reason why I love this fight. As their combined form, Renjishi, unleashes their powerful attacks, Kagu is beaten to a pulp. She is ready to give up and let them kill her. As they unleash their fire breath on her, Chibi jumps in front and takes the blow for her. Chibi, on his last legs, and still gets up to protect his partner. Kagu, touched by Chibi's selflessness, chooses to fight and unleashes her true strength. While Sen and Ryo are stunned by this unleash of power, Kagu goes into a heartfelt speech about how she used to hate her powers and how she just wanted to be normal. But after witnessing Chibi's earnest spirit, she chooses to fight by his side as an equal. This is an amazing amount of character development in such a short period of time, and this is the second reason I like this fight. Upon Sen and Ryo's defeat, Kagu will perform the Dance of Exorcism. Truly an amazing fight.